Anyway, years later, many years later, after the town was established and so forth, the Indians ran into trouble. They were out harvesting piñon nuts, were caught by a snowstorm, and they were out of place. It was nice, good weather, and then all of a sudden a storm moved in and captured them off guard, and it was going to be a long hike back in the snow, and they didn't think a lot of the older and younger peoples would make it. So the call went out to the folks of Springerville, and basically they put every wagon that they could find that was operational. They put every spare blanket they had and packed it with food and so forth. And so it was the people of Springerville's turn to do it, pay it back, and they did. So I like to see nations work together like that. I like to see people helping out. It's a lesson that we could all learn from. But what does this have to do with Bigfoot? Well, it turns out that every time the men, folks, were called out on a mission to rescue a party or cut some timber or something like that, there was a big, hairy wild man that kept coming into the town or the outskirts of town and harassing the women and the children. Now, of course, by this time, all the women and children had cabins, but it would come in and try to peek in the windows and knock on the doors and the walls and so forth. And this was when the settlers begin to learn about the hairy man. Of course, they exchanged information with the local First Nations people, and they told them who it was. And that's when the stories about the wild man begin. Now, it didn't get called the Mogollon Monster until 1940s, 50s, somewhere on there, when the Bigfoot attacked the Boy Scout camp and Camp Geronimo. That's the name that was given by the Boy Scouts, and that's the name that stuck. Just like the Grassman of Ohio, the Skunk Ape of Florida, Georgia, that kind of stuff. So when I say it's a Mogollon Monster, it's not a derogatory term. It's they're not monsters. They're I think they're people. But anyway, that's the very first story about that happening, and I heard of several stories where the hairy man would come and look between the logs in the wall of the cabins. If the cabins weren't finished off and they didn't have the chinks put in yet. For those of you that have never built a cabin, the chinks are the sticks and mud and so forth that goes to between the logs that seal it up, make it wind tight. They used it like plaster. So the first thing down is they build the walls, and then there's gaps in between the logs. Well, this hairy man would go around looking through the cracks in the wall, and people on the inside could see the eyes peering in at them. There's a couple of stories about that if I get enough time, I'll let you know about that.